if you take your hand and you bring the thumb in and then you just put the fingers over the top, this kind of looks like a brain, right? Kind of looks wrinkly. Has anyone ever seen a brain like in a dissection? Yeah, okay. So if you think about the brain, how this is positioned, this would be the brain stem, okay? So this was the limbic system. This is the oldest part of the brain. And then this part is the prefrontal cortex. So you picture like your eyeballs right here. So this is kind of like the front of your head, right? This is the newest part of the brain, is the prefrontal cortex. And so I'm oversimplifying, right? I'm not a neuroscientist here. I'm just using this as a model to help describe, because I think it's super powerful. So what happens when we are stimulated by stress? One person that I've come in contact with calls we flip our lid, right? So the prefrontal cortex comes offline. We react. So this is like the fire alarm in the brain. It senses danger. It knows that I gotta react. I gotta take some action. So I'm gonna flip my lid and probably maybe say something I shouldn't say. Or maybe write a little snarkiness into my email as I'm sending, because I'm having an emotional response versus having this executive functioning. So this is the executive functioning where we can like process thoughts, we can make a good decision, we can respond. Another thing that's really helpful to know is, as humans, this is the last part of our brain to develop. Not only is it in terms of evolutionary, but as we're born, we come into the world with a limbic system, and this part takes until we're about age 26 to develop. So anybody who is raising or has raised teenagers can relate to this, like why teenagers are like all over the place, can't make good decisions, they're going for the thrill, they're not worried about safety or concern. It's because the prefrontal cortex is not fully developed. So that's why we, as their parents, have to walk around as their prefrontal cortex, while they're growing up. So this just basic information is really helpful to understand. If you think about this in terms of relationship, if you have two brains who are working together and there's some sort of stressor, let's just say in a work environment, so some sort of stressor, and both people have flipped their lid, now you have two brain stems trying to make rational decisions and collaborate and communicate with one another. Usually doesn't go well. One person in that conversation needs to have their prefrontal cortex on board.